going to start with myself. Mr. Burkholder, I would like to begin with you. Your testimony states that the MMPA is fertile ground for legal challenges, and I listened with interest as you described the various challenges that you've had in terms of pursuing energy. Over the years, we've seen environmental activists use the legal process to halt projects. How would reforming the MMPA address this type of litigation?
Thank you for that question. Revising the bill would allow ITRs to remain in place for longer than 5 years. This will help prevent situations like we've seen in Alaska where NGOs repeatedly challenge every permit that's issued. The revisions will also lessen or eliminate interagency compliance for MMP authorizations, which helps reduce repetitive analysis and the number of decisions NGOs can challenge. I've heard multiple questions on the front of how can agencies get things done, and I would just say if we have better defining terms and we're able to easily understand them, we'll be able to get those permits issued in a more timely fashion, and they'll be more robust. Industry's not looking for exclusions to, following the guidelines and ensuring that our marine mammals are protected.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. I'm just going to quickly follow up. Decoupling the ESA and MMPA is a reform suggestion that has previously been proposed. Could you share how the discussion draft attempts to accomplish this and how it would improve the permitting process under the MMPA?
I think that having clear guidance from Congress for the agencies will allow us to ensure that species are protected and that industry acts responsibly, and separating those analyses will improve that process.
Mr. Evans, I'm going to quickly turn to you. Can you detail for the subcommittee all of the steps you have taken to try to comply with the current 4D rule requirements for beluga sturgeon and why that compliance has proven impossible?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that question. At the farm, under the ESA, there is a clause in there called the 4D rule, which if you meet the 4D rule, it will allow commercial trade in that species, which means that we need to go to the range countries and start an education and conservation program. Some of the range countries are Russia, Ukraine, Iran. So for a small farm, it is insurmountable hill to climb. We followed what the service told us to do, didn't get any response back besides Ukraine that said that right now they were more fighting for their life than they were worried about conservation in the beluga. These beluga have been on the farm for 14 years now, and we can't do anything with it. We have to feed them, take care of them. We can't use the take to euthanize them. So this has turned critical for us.
Do you believe that domestic aquaculture of sturgeon species and the conservation of these same species in the wild can responsibly coexist?
Yes, I think aquaculture is the only way for these species to exist. It'll remove most of the wild caught caviar in the world now. It comes from other countries, but just being listed on the ESA has nothing to do with their recovery in the wild.
Okay. Mr. Corwin, in your testimony, you state that marine mammals' primary sense is hearing and that they are susceptible to noise. Do you think marine mammals are impacted by the continued operation and construction of offshore wind farms?
Thank you for that question. I think that we really do have to do a deep dive on any construction that we do off our shores, and that we have to find that balance. And I think it's very important, though, that we recognize that we have some species that are so critically endangered. For example, off the coast of New England where I live, we have the North Atlantic right whale. That species is on life support. So we need to do whatever reasonable measures we can do to try to protect that species while be creative to explore those technologies to provide all sorts of energy.
In other words, I think what your answer is we don't know the answer to that yet, and we need to do additional study to determine what impact the construction and operation of offshore wind farms may be having on our marine mammals. Is that fair?
I think we know that marine mammals are highly sensitive to sound in the water. This is their primary mode of navigating and finding food. There have been a lot of scientific studies to show that there is disturbance with these animals with intensive underwater operations. So we have to do what we can do to protect these species. At the same time, we live in a very challenged world with limited resources. We need to explore alternative energies to be as competitive as possible and as sustainable as possible. So we need to find that balance.
Well, thank you very much.